3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 220, and we're recording it late on December 16th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and Tom Vassell screws me over again. Ignacy, you and I were all set to record at Dice Tower headquarters yesterday in one of their great studios that they have. They were professional lighting. It was going to look so good. And I was going to say nice things about Tom. And then Tom tells me they can only use his bad network that he has here, not the good one with the great bandwidth. So I had to get up at 5:45 a.m. Eastern time to record this with you, Ignacy. Okay, well, they were live streaming the Dice Tower Winter Spectacular, so they needed the bandwidth, but such disrespect for the Podfather. Oh,
Steven, first of all, I give you twice as much respect for you waking up so early to record this podcast. So first of all, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Then I'd like to ask you, because you have more experience with that you can contact our lawyer. So we check our contract, because we are part of the Dice Tower network. And being a part of the Dice Tower network, I expected that we have access to internet from the Dice Tower. So
yeah.
I think that he breached the contract. And we will ask for some compensation.
That's right. He has breached the contract that we are entitled to good internet when visiting the Dice Tower headquarters, which, by the way, we'll talk more about what's going on there with the Winter Spectacular. It's so good. We're having so much fun. And that's why I'm, again, in a hotel room in Homestead, Miami area of Florida, because it's too far away from my house in Florida to go back and forth. So, but meantime, well, first of all, Ignacy, I have to say, are you in like the ugly sweater contest today over at work? Is that what you're doing? Oh my! Oh, it says couldn't reread it. It says ugly sweater on his Christmas sweater. It's actually really pretty, and with the Santa Claus hat on, you look great.
My outfit today is to celebrate the last episode before Christmas, because this is dropping, I think, on 20th, something like that. So it will be the right before Christmas. So I decided to be happy Ignacy today to celebrate Christmas.
This will drop on December 22nd.
Exactly,
and we'll
2
tell
days
you,
before. Yep.
Right. We'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on with recording over the holidays. And again, a little bit of an apology, everybody, for being, we took off a week due to travel and not being able to speak at the times that we normally speak, and bad bandwidth and stuff like that. But Ignacy, with all that said, tell us about what is happening over at Portal Games.
At Portal Games, obviously, end of the year, some small task, and basically the whole company is preparing for the holidays. But the news of the week, we still have a news of the week. It's traditional at Portal Games. Every single year we have a gift for our fans. It is in every single case some PDF, some sweet mini expansion or some small game or something like that for our games. And for this year we prepared once again something I hope very, very nice. I hope many fans will appreciate that. And this is alternate versions of player boards to Robinson Crusoe, my most renowned and most popular board game. So there's a lot of fans who know the game, who own the game, and can have fun with this expansion. This is alternate player boards with different artwork for the characters that is inclusive. So we have of different races, different cultures, characters. So if you are from different cultures, and now you can print out these player boards and put them on your regular board and have some beautiful artwork that depicts your culture and your race. So this is our gift to celebrate the Christmas, the positive energy, and basically love all around, to respect to all the people and all the different cultures. So this is our gift for you. Please visit portalgamesus.com, download this sweet PDF. Our artwork team did amazing job. I'm so proud. So you have different versions of Explorer, different versions of Soldier, different versions of Cook, etc., etc. All the characters from the game have now different illustrations, and it is very, very nice. So I'm liking it a lot, and I hope many of you will download it and have fun at home. As for my pre-orders and street dates, now is a time of the year that Ignacy is reminding everyone: January 22nd. PortalCon, we are announcing a new game. So no pre-orders, no street dates till January 22nd, and then the new year for us will start, and the new releases, the new announcements, and new pre-orders. So keep in your calendar that on Saturday, you need to check out portalgamesus.com on Saturday, January 22nd. What's happening at Portal Games HQ? This week, we sent out the last files for printing the game that will be released next year. And basically now everyone is in the mode of, cleaning the office, cleaning all the tasks that were still not ready, but basically chilling out next week. So this is the week that you are listening to the podcast. Most of the team already has days off. They are spending time with their family. The week after Christmas, the whole company is shut down. Everybody with their families, recharging, preparing for the January, for the craziness of the PortalCon. So basically, slow period. Myself also spending more time at home than in the office. So this is a good way to chill out at the end of the year. My video of the week segment, as you guys know, I'm slowly going to finish the challenge. There was 100 videos in 100 days. We are at the video number 80. So lots of videos I recorded. From the last week, I'd like to recommend to you the video called The Top 3 Dumbest Products I Ever Published. It's as always
That's great.
It's always silly with me, and I'm showing you 3 products that I released many years ago as a starting publisher, and they were super dumb. They didn't sell whatsoever, and it shows the craziness I had in my mind many years ago. So basically, nothing important happens besides the gift for all of you. So please visit portalgamesus.com, download the alternate artwork, and have some fun with the Robinson Crusoe during the Christmas.
Excellent stuff, Ignacy. Excellent stuff. And since you're in a good mood, I'll make you even better mood to tell you about my remodeling and how wonderful most of it is going. Pretty good. The first floor, finally 100% done. 100%. Nothing to be done. They completed all the punch list items. There's one little cabinet drawer that's just on back order. They'll put that in when it comes in at some point. But we claim victory finally there, way after it should have been done. And I'm back on the second floor. Better, not great, but better. Everything's going. The sliding glass doors for both bathrooms are done. The guest bathroom's 100% done. It looks amazing. All the moldings are in. The cabinets in the master bath they've come in, but they're not completely installed because the countertops, they had to measure. They're getting fabricated. When they get in, which should be within the next week or so, we'll be away. I'll tell you about that.
So they are doing this almost during the Christmas?
Yes. So Americans work until Christmas Eve.
Oh my God.
Many people do. As a craftsmen definitely do. Obviously retail people have to work up until Christmas. But yeah, so no, they're still doing work. And we're going to be the part that's not going to happen for weeks and weeks, 8 weeks or more, the little doors. And I think I reported last time that the doors that were measured, this is the interior doors for upstairs, they were all measured wrong, apparently. They all came in, they were wrong. So all those doors are going to have to wait until like 8 weeks. Almost all of them. Some of them were right, some of them were wrong. So mostly good news. And also good news on my outdoor kitchen, right? That's the barbecue, basically, with the side burner and the refrigerator and this beautiful granite countertop. Done. 100% done. I have to do a little bit of electrical work. Just get the electrician in to put a little 4-gang electrical plug so all the items can be plugged in, but it's working. I'll be able to barbecue during the winter in Florida. It's the greatest time. It's the most wonderful time of the year in South Florida in the winter. So I'm very excited about that. Back to the cons and my crazy trip. So PAX Unplugged, that was last week. What an amazing experience. First, as I reported, myself and Rachel Blasky, good friend and a media consultant in the industry, we hosted an after hours with the Podfather industry networking event. And it was for designers, artists, content creators, the media, publishers, distributors, retailers. If you're a part of the industry, you were invited to come. Everybody was invited. We thought, oh, if we get 100 people, that will be a success. Over 300 people showed up. It
Amazing.
was insane. It felt, Ignacy, I can't, it's hard, and I'll even get emotional talking about it. It felt so good again to get back together and come together as a community of gamers, the industry coming together to do business again together, to socialize and to network again together. It was wonderful. And it really felt very safe. Everyone has to judge their level of safety, but 100% of the people vaccinated, because that was a PAX requirement. So 100% vaccinated. Everyone at the event wore masks all the time, unless you were drinking or eating. It was wonderful. Great time had by all. 100%. I look forward to potentially doing it again in the future at other upcoming conventions because it was so well attended. We'll make some changes. We'll have 2 bartenders instead of 1. We'll double the amount of space, things like that. But overall, it was good. We kept it a very safe environment for everybody, and that was wonderful. Gaming highlights over at PAX. 2 things stick out very much in my mind. I played Witchstone, which was released in 2021 by Hook. Used to be a partner of Stronghold Games. It came out under the R&R brand. Great friends of mine here in North America. It's a Reiner Knizia game that 100% plays like a Stefan Feld game. So it's got 100 ways to score points, and you want to do them all, and of course you can't do them all, right? So doesn't that sound like a Feld game?
Yep.
It really. It has the pasted on theme. Let's get that straight. Don't really feel as much like your witches or sorcerers, doing potions, and you don't really. But it's got root building. It's got a racing, so to speak. If you have to be first to get the better things and the better points and the better areas, it's area control. It's got all of these elements put together in a very. Jeff Engelstein made a great statement to me when I played it with him, and he beat the crap out of me after I played 4 times. Then I played with him, and he just destroyed me because he's like the smartest guy in the world.
Yep.
So he says to me, it really makes him feel good that these days the industry has matured. The game design has matured to the point where Knizia in this case, pulls mechanics kind of off the shelf, right? You pull them off and you combine them now in a different way to make something that's an interesting, different experience. And that's what you get in Witchstone. Loved it. Really good game. Check it out. Available widely now. And the other, even bigger highlight for me was I got a media presentation because I'm part of the media now.
I saw pictures.
It was funny. And I literally just stumbled upon Eric Summerer, and Matthew from the Dice Tower, not Matthew Jude. Matthew, I forgot the last name. I apologize. They were about to get their media presentation together, and I said, "Oh, may I sit in? I'm part of the Dice Tower too." He goes, "Oh yes, of course." They let me sit in, and the people from Funko let me sit in. The new release upcoming to Kickstarter, specifically on March 22nd, 2022. Which is a very specific date this far in advance, called The Legacy of Isla Nublar, something like that. It's the island of Jurassic World. That island with the dinosaurs, The Legacy of Isla Nublar. So they gave us a non-spoiler presentation of the game. And oh, by the way, so Funko is known for those little pop-up dolls and things like that. But they bought a company, a design house, and Prospero Hall is the design house. And these guys have got some great cred under their belt. They did Villainous. They've done some other things. So everything we didn't obviously we didn't play the game, but they told us all about the game. They told us about the process, told us what's going to happen. I'm not going to rehash too much. Go to my Facebook page. You should all be friends of mine, and you can see my posting on what I got and all the pictures I took. No spoilers in there because everything that they showed us would be something you would see when you open the box. You open the box, and this is what you see. The game has 12 adventures. They're called adventures. So you'll play the tutorial a whole bunch of times to make sure you get the system. You won't legacy anything during the tutorial, if you know what I mean, right? Nothing ripped, nothing marked. And then you'll play 11 more adventures, including the finale. I forgot what they call it. They call it something like the finale, like of a movie. And at the end, you will have a game like nobody else's game that will be replayable, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Awesome. Especially since, what if you screwed up a lot along the way? Will your game be really hard to play at the end? What if you did really well? It would be easy. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out. But I have a really good feeling that it's going to work out well. I think the game's going to make millions on Kickstarter. I think it's going to be one of the top 10 Kickstarters of all time. That's my prediction. I'm going to put that in my predictions episode. I am, by the way. I claim this prediction. So remember that for the, I'm going to forget this. But the legacy of Isla Nublar coming from Funko and Prospero Hall to Kickstarter, March 22nd, 2022. I'm now at the Dice Tower Winter Spectacular, as I mentioned. I've been here for like 3 days. I got down here on Tuesday. They've been going since Monday, but I was getting back from PAX. I'm staying in a hotel, as you can see, and you should be watching us because you can see Ignacy's ugly sweater and his Santa hat. And I'm having a great time here. I love doing these live streams. Obviously, Tom and I bring a certain energy when we get together, which is really cool. I played Rise of the Necromancer, interesting game. I played Zoom in Barcelona, very light game, but fun. You can play it with grandma even. Like, it's interesting. You're taking pictures around Barcelona, Spain. I played this Goonies game. I can't remember the name, but it's a series of games. It also includes a Scooby-Doo version of the game. It's like an escape room that you're trying to figure out a puzzle. So we had to stop because we couldn't give away too many spoilers. The first thing is almost tutorial as well, so you didn't give away too much. And I'm going to be playing Dune Imperium today with the new expansion. So really having a great time. The number of people watching us is high. So you can go back now, of course, not watch it live, but you can go back and watch all of the videos. So I would highly recommend checking out the Dice Tower Winter Spectacular and all of its segments. I leave from here to go back home for just a minute, do a quick pack, go down back to Fort Lauderdale, which is somewhere between here and my house. We see a play tonight. Paula and I are going to see a play tonight, The Prom it's called. Get on a plane tomorrow morning, fly to Las Vegas, my 4th trip to Las Vegas. And why am I going to Las Vegas? I have not spoken about this yet. And I'm going to briefly talk about it because I'm going to be documenting this trip. I'm going to Las Vegas. It's about an hour outside Las Vegas, technically, to go to the Ron Fellows Performance Driving School. What does that mean? You get to drive their Corvettes on a racetrack, on a closed track. You know, you get both in classroom and track experience using their cars. So I'll be able to drive my car, air quotes, because it'll be my car that, it'll be just like my car, but it'll be their car. I'll be able to drive it at 150 miles per hour on a racetrack after I learn the performance characteristics of the Corvette. So they teach you really how to do this right. And then they make sure you can do it. So they pace you, they stay in front of you. And if you can go and they know what you're doing, you can go faster and faster on the track. So I can't wait to do this. This is something that a GM gives you as a bonus. You have to pay a little bit, but not the full amount that anybody would pay for this kind of experience. You pay a little bit and you get to do this experience with their cars. So I'm never going to take my car up to like that kind of speed, but I'll take their cars up to that kind of speed. It's going to be so much fun.
Being retired sounds terrible, really.
It's a terrible thing. It's good. I'm so excited. And we don't get back home until Christmas Eve. And then we'll spend Christmas Day with some friends, locally in Florida, back home with no travels for like a few weeks. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to be back in my own bed for like a few weeks. Anyway, that was pretty long. Sorry, everybody out there, but let's get over to the event deck. We got some big things to talk about.
I want to say before you even start that the last episode I said officially, hey, Asmodee, buy somebody. And then things happened. So somebody was listening to us. Somebody might have been listening or maybe that this was been in the works for a while. So we reported
And I broke the news on, literally, like I was the only one in North America that was talking about the fact that Asmodee was about to be sold again, right? Background history, Asmodee is owned by a venture capital firm. That means it's a firm that buys them, but lets them operate and tries to help them become more and more profitable over time. When I started in the industry, or not, well, before I started in the industry, they were owned by nobody, and then they were bought by a venture capital firm known as Eurazeo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. A French company, Eurazeo Venture Capital. Then it was sold, and they were bought at 145 billion euro back then. And then they were bought by Pi Partners, which also makes cookies, apparently. Ignacy.
Jaffa cakes.
And they were bought at that point for 1.2 billion euro. By the way, you can add 10% of this approximately, and you get to the dollar value. Crazy number. So think about that percentage increase in about 3 years. And then we reported that they were in negotiations to be bought again. And Goldman Sachs, the largest investment bank in the world, was brokering the next deal for them to get purchased by probably another venture capital firm. And as advertised, and it was going to be for about 2 billion euro, 2.2 billion US dollar. The final selling price, drum roll please, 2.75 billion euro, about 3 billion US dollars. So the people who bought them paid a premium to even what they thought that they were worth. Think about that. So they thought they were worth 2 billion, they would get euro, and then they ended up getting 2.75 billion euro by a company known as Embracer. I don't know how you pronounce it. Let me read the quick article here. Asmodee being sold to a video game group. Asmodee Group owner Pi Partners is in an exclusive discussions to sell Asmodee to video game company Embracer Group. The company's announced. A purchase price was not disclosed. I just disclosed it for you. Private equity group Pi acquired Asmodee in October of 2018, so 3 years later, for around $1.4 billion, right? I said 1.2 billion euro. Embracer Group, headquartered in Sweden, owns 8 operating groups in the businesses of developing and publishing PC, console, and mobile games for the global games market. And they list the names of these companies, which don't mean anything to me nor you, so I won't even go. With 85 internal game development studios and over 9,000 employees and contractors in 40 countries. So we're talking about a very large group centered around gaming, not physical gaming, but gaming nonetheless. Tabletop game publisher and distributor Asmodee Group, headquartered in France, sells games in over 50 countries with a global workforce of over 2,300 people. So they're a big portion, but not, they're only going to increase the total number of employees under Embracer Group by about 25%. So this is a huge company, or a holding company is a good way of kind of putting it. Asmodee will continue to operate independently with CEO Stefan Carvel remaining in place as its head. No reorganization driven by the contemplated transaction is anticipated. The companies are seeing potential for cross-fertilization of their IPs across the tabletop and video game platforms. The envisioned group's collaboration and joint forces would bring impact and scale around IPs, distribution, technology, game development, and transmedia projects, the announcement said. The combined entity will be Europe's largest gaming group, according to the announcement. By the way, Embracer is a Swedish company, which is very interesting. The whole company is owned in Sweden. That doesn't make Asmodee a Swedish company. They're still a French company, but their parent company is in Sweden. So to my friends at Fricks Games, you now have a very, very large entity operating and working in your area. So Ignacy, this is just huge news for the industry.
Yeah, I reported today in my vlog a few cents from my perspective, how I see, because of course, we reported already that these numbers were somewhere in the air. It was more or less discussed in the previous episodes. Now we have a brand new part of the news is who bought the Asmodee, and therefore what does it mean? And how I see it, I see all these IPs from the video games, some of them being a super popular video games like these AAA, how they are called, like these big PlayStation and PC games like Metro or Borderlands. So for the past few years, we were reporting here in the podcast how Asmodee is growing their titles by taking the Ticket to Ride, taking Spotted, taking Analog, and pasting great IPs. Just recently released World of Warcraft Pandemic, correct? And now with these IPs, we see a merger of perfect marriage. Like we have great titles in terms of the tabletop. We have a great IPs from the video game world, and they will merge. We will have a lot of new board games with these amazing IPs, and this is for a fact it will happen. I don't know if it will happen, so this is my small prediction. If does it mean that Asmodee Digital will get some, impact from this video game industry knowledge, and maybe we'll see more and more even app versions or video game versions of the games, because clearly Embracer knows a ton about the video game industry. And this is quite a big twist, because Pi, as we reported, they had a ton of different companies they bought, including Jaffa Cakes. So they knew nothing about gaming. They were business people who want to make revenue.
Sure.
Here we have a group that is business people who wants to make money, but they know about gaming, and that this is a new element in the whole puzzle, which is very, very exciting for me.
Yeah, marriage made in heaven, I really think is a good way of putting it. I mean, and I would have said that if it was Hasbro that bought them. Really, I would have. Yep. I mean, because obviously Hasbro knows how to make money in gaming, but this one, which is gaming, not part of our gaming, but can marry up IPs, could bring great ideas of digital gaming into the industry. Yeah, this is big. You know what Tom Vassel's comment on this was? In all seriousness, I said, like, this is huge. He goes, the average gamer, that's not going to affect him, doesn't care. I just slap my head.
Disagree.
I just slap my head when I hear that. I mean, sure, will the average gamer see it right now? No, but this is huge to see this growth that's going on, to see this money being pumped in, to see potential cross-fertilization of all of these things happening. If you like the industry, if you want to get it, think about the broader scope of the industry. This is tremendous.
The average gamer right now is buying a Pandemic World of Warcraft because he's excited, because this pandemic and the World of Warcraft is amazing.
Yep.
And this is why, because Asmodee has the power to have such IPs. And in 2 years from today, average gamer will be buying Ticket to Ride Metro, that is amazing post-apocalyptic IP. And yes, they will care. They will spend money on their beloved board games merged with the beloved IPs from video games.
Absolutely. And speaking of unbelievable, crazy things in the Asmodee world, and when you think that maybe Asmodee is a negative thing, think about this. Asmodee USA and Days of Wonder raise over $184,000 for Breast Cancer Foundation through their Play Pink initiative. We've reported on this, that they created a small product of these pink trains that you can use in Ticket to Ride. And they made for Breast Cancer Foundation $184,000. Unbelievable, wonderful, and only they could do something like this. Sure, Ignacy or me back in the day, we could have done something like this. We would have made a few $1,000s, right? That we could have then donated. $184,000 by people who love Ticket to Ride, and they bought the product. And $5 from every product, every time this was sold, went to approximately, I think, went to breast cancer. And I think that is just wonderful. Thank you, Asmodee, for doing this.
Yeah, this is the effect of the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And as Steven said, because for Easter, I'm doing charity every week on my Polish vlog. I'm gathering money. We are auctioning games. So every week I'm doing some small part to help people. And over the year I gathered, and now we are reaching $20,000. So this is a good number of money. I'm very proud of
Nice.
what I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm transferring this money for the kids charity organizations to help kids. So this is good stuff. Kudos to Ignacy, but 20,000 from Ignacy against 200,000 from Asmodee, and they did it just like that. Like I spent the whole year doing that, and they just did one auction and 10 times more. All charity is good. All charity deeds are very, very important.
Yes.
But if you have a scale, you can do even better.
Right. Great stuff. And we have to continue with Asmodee. This is obviously going to be the one about Asmodee, what we posted. But, you know, they're making these big moves, and these big moves have impact. And this one
I would say this is a Christmas episode. We are nice to Asmodee, and we dedicate our news section because of the Christmas to them.
Because of Christmas, we're being nice. Asmodee makes a strategic investment in Exploding Kittens. So Asmodee Group has signed an agreement to make a strategic investment into Exploding Kittens, joining the Chernin Group and the founders as owners of the tabletop game company the company's announced. The deal is expected to close before the end of the year. The size of the investment was not disclosed. Exploding Kittens took in a $30 million investment from an affiliate of the Chernin Group in 2019. The company was founded by game designer Elon Lee and webcomic The Oatmeal creator Matthew Inman. Asmodee has been a non-exclusive distributor of Exploding Kittens line in North America, along with ACD, Alliance, and GTS. The two companies first began doing business in 2016 when Asmodee began distributing Exploding Kittens games in Europe. No word on whether Asmodee will now become the exclusive distributor of Exploding Kittens games in North America. So, while, again, I don't think many people who are listening play Exploding Kittens, there's no doubt of the impact of a game like that on gaming in general. What I mean is when you can have a company with the scale and the size and the distribution network of Asmodee pick up this IP, they're not buying the company, but they're getting bigger rights into this product and into this company, they're going to be able to use it, to place it, to then get people closer to our hobby. And that's the important thing. You give them a little bit, they go for the next thing is Ticket to Ride, and the next thing is Pandemic, and the next thing is Detective, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the Exploding Kittens is for us geeks. We complain this game is stupid, this game is so simple, etc., etc. But this game is so popular. It was successful on Kickstarter, and then we reported the investment, and it's growing. And now Asmodee is investing because for us geeks, it may be too simple, but the bottom line is it provides fun. So it's a great game.
Therefore, it makes it a game that has impact.
Yep.
So what do we have here, Ignacy? You put this in here. Backer Kit and Launch Studio are kind of merging. The Launch Studio is joining the Backer Kit team. What is this about?
Yeah, I put this this news item here because year after year, I think we all see and report on that the Kickstarter is a valid and important part of the distribution model for board gaming. At the very beginning, it was just a new thing, and now so many publishers and so many people in the industry is using Kickstarter. So also the changes in this part of the distribution are part of our podcast. So Backer Kit is one of the companies that do all these pledge managers and do also advertisement for many creators. Very many creators are using them as a third party to run all the ads for the Kickstarters. So now we see that Backer Kit is growing, wants to give more feature for the performance, and this is important for our listeners. This is important for our creators, for all of you who are using Kickstarter as a fundamental way to distribute your games. So that's why I added here to the news. If you can read with your better English the press release, we can do it. But this is why I did it. Like I think it is now part of our hobby.
And yeah, really briefly, that they're saying that they've brought in Launch Studio as part of the Backer Kit team. And what Launch Studio does apparently is that they help you through the process of doing a Kickstarter, right? Is that basically it? They're actually giving you tools to create your Kickstarter better. Is that basically a summation of what Launch Studio does?
Yes, and this is the just because I'm wearing this sweater and just because it's a Christmas episode, I will not mention that Gamma should buy a launch studio because, as I'm always saying, I want Gamma to educate. I want them to teach people in the industry, and our listeners know that I'm obsessed with education and giving these tools to the young and beginning publishers. So yes, this is what Backer Kid is doing. They want to help creators to be more successful.
Have you used the launch studio in your?
No, because I'm not working with Backer Kid. I'm working with the competitor. So
right.
I was not using it personally, but I know it because I was comparing the offers. So
very good. Very good. And the final news article is again brought to us by Ignacy, and it's an interesting one. And it's something that I don't understand. Kickstarter will move its platform to blockchain. Now, I'm going to read a little bit here, and no one's going to understand this. And Ignacy, then you're going to have to explain it in Polish to me. For more than a decade, Kickstarter has convinced the public to pay people to follow through on their ideas to build a gadget, make a film, or create a piece of artwork, or publish a game. It was, in some ways, a harbinger of today's digital economy built around cryptocurrencies, decentralized organizations, and NFT art. On Wednesday, Kickstarter plans to unveil a project that will merge the two worlds. By the way, this was in Bloomberg News. That's where this is coming from. It's hatching a standalone company to build a crowdfunding system, much like Kickstarter's, but based on blockchain technology. When it's ready, Kickstarter will switch its own website to the new infrastructure, and the new company will make the tools available for anyone to create a competing crowdfunding site. Huh? They're going to let me create another Kickstarter on blockchain technology they develop, which I assume you have to pay for or license it. But, wow. The new company's not even have a name yet. Development is slated to begin in the first quarter of next year, and Kickstarter expects to transition its site to the new protocol sometime in 2022. The change will take place entirely behind the scenes and shouldn't affect how people use the site, the New York-based company said. Ignacy, can you shed any more light on this? Because, and I'm a technologist, and I'm like, what does it mean? I mean, what is it gonna, how are they gonna integrate like blockchain, which is responsible for NFTs, into a crowdfunding platform? I'm concerned. I don't know.
It's very simple.
Very simple. Okay.
Preparing for this news section, I did a lot of research. I watched because I knew that we are going to discuss it. So I watched a couple of videos on YouTube. I read a couple of stories, and the answer is very simple. I have no clue what it is. But seriously, I was trying to learn, but this whole Bitcoins and etc. It's super complicated for me. My statement for today is, dear listeners, if any of you has a way to explain it to this old gentleman, Steven, and this younger gentleman, Ignacy, please do send us email to podfather@podfather. What was your email? And we will try to understand and report in the next episode. I really did research. I really wanted to prepare. I learned. I was looking at the YouTube videos. I understand in no freaking way.
And you thought that I would be able to? No, I can't. I don't understand.
But I did my homework. At least I did, but I failed.
And you failed. Okay, well, that's the least honest of you. But if anybody does want to help us, I think this is another great way of maybe people can post something in our guild on Board Game Geek, create a new thread, and tell us about it. Tell us
and treat us as your grandfather, like slowly, caps lock, explain it slowly.
I would love to understand how this will work for Kickstarter, because I mean, I get it generally about how it works with NFTs generally. How will it work for Kickstarter? But it's an interesting move to see this happening within, again, our industry. And that was quite a bit of news. We got to move on to strategy and tactics now. Patrick Moore, who's at Distant Babel, he says, now that Mr. Bonacore is retired from board games, any chance to focus on brewing beer as a career number 2 or a new hobbyist venture? Well, Patrick, the answer is that I'm not drinking any less beer, nor am I going to any less breweries. I went to a really great tap house here on Tuesday night. So no, I'm not investing in breweries. It's a pretty saturated market. I would have done it possibly if times were different. It's a very, very saturated market right now. So there are a lot of great breweries out there. Support them, the local small ones. They're awesome. William Bricker. Oh my God. That's Bill Bricker, my former, but now still with Indie Game Studios, graphic designer, illustrator. He's awesome. You see him at every one of the major shows, Origins and Gen Con. Great guy. He asks a question about the golden era of gaming. I've heard it said we're in a golden era of gaming, which means it doesn't get better than this. More games, more options, more players, never before. I'm not sure that's true. I wonder if we aren't at the beginning of something rather than the peak. It seems we are constantly outdoing ourselves on Kickstarter. Even as some companies scale back the number of games they release, the quality of games continues to increase. There are seemingly more players added every year. Are we really in a golden era of gaming, or is it still coming? Ignacy, help old man Bricker.
William, it's super simple. You can grab the data and see it by yourself. If you look at print runs in Germany and compare these print runs with how many people live in Germany, and then if you compare the print runs in America and how many people live in America, there is still a ton of people who haven't discovered board games in English, who haven't played their first Ticket to Ride, who haven't played their first pandemic. We are still in a moment of this hobby growing and still having a chance to reach millions of gamers. I'm not sure if this is true for the geeks companies, like we will grow slower because we just get this small percentage of these hardcore, die-hard board gamers. So not everyone will discover Robinson Crusoe. Maybe for me, the roof is a little bit lower, but for the so-called getaway games, Catan, Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, Escape, Exit, Pandemic, we are just starting. This is why we see these numbers of this pie buying Asmodee and then being sold, because these big companies, these big businessmen see this is just the beginning. There is so many people who have chance to discover this hobby.
Absolutely true. Bill, yeah, we say we're in a golden era, but the gold is getting more like 24 karat. It's getting purer. It's getting better. The industry continues to grow. Maybe we'll call the next one the diamond era or the platinum era. I don't know. We're continuing. We've almost integrated ourselves into the mainstream now, which is astonishing. We're not quite there, but if a company like Asmodee gets us there, it just helps everybody sail along with them. So, good question. We're going to continue going up and up.
There was this nice incident that happened a couple of weeks ago when the actor who is playing Superman and The Witcher at the same time in one of the talk shows, he was saying super openly that he's playing Warhammer Battle. He loves miniature games, and he sent all this geek knowledge all around. And there is so many people who will follow him. Oh, what's Warhammer Battle? I want to play miniature games like Witcher. I want to play miniature games like Superman. I want to be like Superman, right? And there will be just more and more celebrities, more and more influencers who will be just super open that they're playing tabletop hobby. We are still at the very beginning of this craziness for our hobby.
Absolutely. I'm going to take one more question. Guess what? It's also from Bill Bricker. And he says, yep, I've never posted a question, and now I got two in one day because I miss you so much, Bonacor. Isn't that nice? So he talks about coronavirus, wrecked the convention season. This was last year's convention season. He's posted this in August of last year. It wrecked the release schedules. It closed down stores. Everyone was stuck at home. And it's no great secret that there's been a renewed interest in board and card games that people can play together at home. Assuming next year we return to something like normal, right? We did get closer, not normal, closer. Do we see a boost in sales from all the people who rediscovered gaming this year? Are the conventions overrun with new fans? Will the friendly local game stores reestablish themselves and even gain traction? What will the future hold for us, Mr. Bonacor? Well, it's got to be Mr. Bonacor and Mr. Chevychek. So, Bill, as you know, this now we're looking in hindsight, but I would have answered last year that sure, in 2021 we're going to see the resurgence. 2020 sales for most companies that were doing the right thing were better also. So we didn't go down in 2020. We had less releases in 2020, but sales were up slightly in 2020. And in 2021, they're going to be up a greater amount. I don't know that there's a resurgence in people discovering games. It's just, well, there's all of us, right? All of us gamers out there going back, playing more games. We're introducing some people. So I guess there's the resurgence. We're getting some more people in that we feel comfortable hanging around with. Yes, we had to stay at home. We're getting more gamers in, and it's just up and away, as you said in the previous one. We're in that golden or diamond age of gaming. Ignacy?
Yeah, my only doubt, and I don't know the answer, so I have no clue how to answer this. If like 2-3 years ago, when there was a convention, there was a chance that some random people will join the convention, discover board games. Now, because everyone is still skeptical about going to the big masses, the chance to have some random person going to the game convention is for sure lower than 2 years ago. And we will have to wait till this COVID is gone, or we get used to get masks, to have some random people who will just go, oh, there are masses, but whatever, I'm vaccinated, I'm going.
Yeah. And that's what it was at PAX. We all there. We all played with masks on. We want to play together. So thank you for the questions. We'll take more on the next episode. But meantime, let's get over to play testing. So from last week's question, we are now going to find out what you guys said about this, and the question was, when you play a game, are you usually the winner or are you usually the loser? Or would you say you win an average number of times, like 1 in 4 in a 4-player game? So we'll take some, we said that we're going to take some. Go ahead, Ignacy.
I picked 3 answers that I like the most.
Okay. You picked the 3 answers you like the most. Go for it. You go, because I have not looked at this. So you go ahead.
Yeah. Walter says, I lose way more often than I win. Very honest. And he says, I don't like spending more than a minute to math out moves and often go with my gut. Similarly, I play to explore game mechanics, often taking a particular strategy to an extreme to check what will happen, right? So this is very, very interesting. Sometimes I have the same situation, and I like it. Like the mechanics of the game is so interesting for you. It's so fascinating that you even try to do something maybe crazy, but you want to see how the game will react, what will happen. So I'm with you, Walter. I appreciate this answer because sometimes I do such crazy things as well. My second pick was Eric. Eric says, I have a win percentage of 55% according to my stats. I, of course, do better in some games than the other. I have 100% wins in a Game of Thrones, the board game, 75 to 80% win in a role player side and Dune Imperium, while I never have won a game of 7 Wonders. And this is also a very interesting point. I have the same, for instance, with King of Tokyo that was released in 2009 or 8.
Yep.
Till today, never won. I'm always too excited. I'm going to this city and I'm going dead. So this is amazing that we have some games that we are particularly good, and some games that we play, but we know it is not gonna end well. And so this is Eric's answer. I absolutely like it. And the last one, where is the last one? I chose, yes, Jeff. I find I have more fun playing when I try out different and new strategies. A lot of times this bomb, but it's cool surprise when you find a uniquely different way to win. And this is exactly what we just mentioned. Like, he just tried what will happen. I played a game Elysium, a very good game, trying to win, Be With Me, only drafting cards illustrated by Vincent Dutrois. This is my favorite artist, and I said I'm playing my hand only with his cards. I didn't win. This is not a winning strategy. So if you ever play game Elysium, don't do it. But it was fun to try something completely different, something crazy. So yes, winning is fun, but having some additional craziness in the game is always also fun.
Absolutely. Mike Dando, he says, I have just over 1,100 recorded plays and a 59% win record, which obviously is high, but he says this will be somewhat skewed by a number of co-op games like Gloomhaven and Just One, right? So you record it and it's co-op, so you're going to win as part of a group. How is that really part of the stats. It's a little weird. However, for me, the real winning is the stories that you retell afterwards when someone made an epic play or had a near miss, or the time we played Dark Moon for hours because someone read the rules wrong. And that's 100%, Mike. That's the reason I play games, for the stories that you can tell after the play. Sarah Simpson says, I most often play 3-player games and have a win percentage of right around 1/3 of my games. The other 2 players are about 40% and 28% win rates. I'd say we are a fairly well-balanced group. It sure felt like less, but then again, I'm losing 2/3 of the time. Thanks for putting this into perspective. Thank you, Sarah. It's a good one. And Sarah Reed, another Sarah. I used to feel like I always lost, so I started tracking plays. BG Stats is a great app for this with lots of statistics. For 2021, I've won about 43% of the games played. That feels about right. So, Ignacy, it's interesting that people are tracking it. So many people are tracking stuff. I know that I don't, and that's going to be one of my future questions about things. We'll get to that later. But these are really good answers that people are winning. Maybe people who track their stats win more, or maybe that whole thing with co-op games kind of skews things in a little weird way.
I have my struggles with co-op games as well. I play my Arkham Horror LCG solo. I lose, and then I'm struggling. Should I record it or no? Nobody saw it, and I try to hack my percentage.
So what do we have for this week? What's our new question for this week? It's a little early.
It's pretty obvious, guys. Christmas is in a few days, in 2 days, as you're listening to the podcast. So our question will be, what did you get for Christmas? What games did you find under the Christmas tree? Let us know in the comments what your close ones, what your family, what your friends gave you in terms of the geeky stuff. Let's share what was on the Christmas trees 2021 worldwide.
That sounds awesome. I expanded the question that you have here to add that, or other non-game cool stuff.
Yep.
So we ask you that. I guess you're going to put this question up there, even though it's 2 weeks away from Christmas as we record this, right? It's kind of weird. People are going to see that and not know how to answer it yet. What do you think? You want to wait a little bit before you put it up?
No, because I forgot about this. I will do it right now. And
okay. You might want to also say, we know it's a little early, but you can always come back after Christmas and answer, something like that. In the meantime, Ignacy right now is going to create that thread for us on our guild on Board Game Geek. Please go to the guild, find our play testing thread with this question, and post your answer. Meanwhile, let's get to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider and look at Ignacy's ugly sweater and Santa hat on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like our pages, Ignacy's page and Steven's page, /Portal Games US and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. It's the same thing on Instagram. And on YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. And on TikTok, watch Ignacy dance. Portal Games US is his channel there. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention. Now that the convention season's over, that means we'll see you in 2022. We really hope that we're back in full force then. My next convention is the Dice Tower Cruise. Does that count? It's the next gaming outing, that's for sure. Can't wait for that one. And then Dice Tower West in Las Vegas. Back to Vegas again. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And a special thank you to Matthew, Paula Deming, and the brothers Murph, by the way. They were our very special guests at the event that I threw at PAX Unplugged. They were wonderful to work with. They helped us do the organization and the checking of people in and kept things moving. Thank you, Matthew, Paula, the brothers Murph. You guys rocked. And if you want Matthew to edit your podcast, you can email him at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, the great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, the only news that I can think of we should tell people is that this is sad news.
I wanted to like small addition to the news about the editing podcast from Matthew. If you want Matthew to edit your podcast, you need to send him the file. Yeah, because maybe not. This is his like he says I will edit, but I need a file, and he's edit over and over again.
And that's a bit of an inside joke that Ignacy doesn't send the file, and Matthew gets annoyed at us. My file's always there, always. Matthew has got patience beyond patience. Thank you, Matthew.
Merry Christmas, Matthew, and sorry for everything I did this year.
And then the sad news, tears. We're going to be taking a little break now, so we're going to be the next podcast will come to you after the new year. Ignacy, I guess we're going to record next somewhere around the 29th, so that one would drop on the 5th. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Does that sound right?
Yes, that's correct. My company is back at work on January 3rd. So I will have my editing team and my publishing team and everybody ready to rock. So if we record in the last week of December, in the first week of January, we are back in action.
Excellent, excellent. So everyone, have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, if you do not celebrate anything, as Seinfeld had on his show. Peace, joy, love to you all. Take care.
Thank you for being with us for the whole year. All the best for you.
We love you all. Thank you. Bye now.